So anything that really, software to enable virtualization, application, different layers of virtualization. I'm going to go through, all of that. I mean, so any, for the next 2 to 3 years, the market is really going to spend a lot of money in acquiring technologies, okay, that enable virtualization within your data center or at the client level. I mean, a combination of all of that, right? And by the end of 2012, they say 50% of the enterprise data center workloads will be virtualized. I mean, these are things that, Gartner is really talking about. Let's look at some other analysts, right? This is Data Monitor. I mean, this is another set of guys who really come and give you spiel about what's going to happen in the IT industry, right? So they say growth of virtualization will accelerate. The business benefits of virtualization are numerous. I mean, that we all really know, but green IT technologies is really where they focus on, and they say in order for that to really happen, virtualization is extremely important, right? The next one is really from IDC predictions. I mean, IDC predictions, you probably know, I mean, they predict on all industries, worldwide, and for specific geographies too. So I picked up a couple of things from the IDC predictions. From 2009 prediction, they were talking about in Latin America, the way the economy is, the budgetary constraints really are going to force people to really, companies to really go in and look at newer technologies to get more out of what they already have. And one of the, the types of things that they're going to look at are virtualization, software as a service, on-demand computing, those kind of things, right? And in 2010, actually the same group really comes out and says for worldwide prediction, this is really the crossover year for virtualization. I mean, they're going to be, there's going to be more virtual servers shipped, than physical. As they say the VM densities are really, going to go up. So you'll see more of virtual servers than physical servers, out in the market. So when you really, those are the analysts, right? Analysts say, yeah, this is the next best thing to, slice of bread, right? I mean, so everybody really wants you to, look at virtualization as something that's going to help you. People who are really, companies who really are looking at developing new products, I mean, they look at these kind of things and say, okay, Gartner says this is where you should really be looking at. Okay, let me look at, niche products to really support those kind of technologies, right? But if you look at a data center, I mean, today, some of the issues within large data centers is really, there is the IT issues that are really forcing data centers to become more, efficient and effective. And at the same time, the business is really driving the data centers too. I mean, with its innovation, actually, it's really forcing the data centers to become effective there too. They want, some of the things like, cost and service delivery. I mean, the rising costs of systems and networking, I mean, that is really going up. The amount of data that you really are storing is going up, right? Mergers and acquisitions are bringing in a lot of systems, and your server sprawl is really becoming larger and larger. So your data center space is really becoming, it's really, the footprint of your systems is really growing. So you don't really have enough space in your data centers. You don't really have enough energy, power in your data centers to really support it. But at the same time, the businesses are really saying, hey, now we are ubiquitous, we are on the web, we got customers all over the world, you got to really have 24/7, 99.999 availability. So all of that really is what is forcing data centers to really come up with innovative ways to really support their businesses. And these are some of the things that, issues, and data centers are really looking at enabling technologies, right, like virtualization to really do that. Going through this, as quickly as possible. I mean, I got around 45 slides. I don't want, I know you have around 45 minutes for me, right? So I'll try to really quickly go through these and then get into the details of different types of virtualization. So the actual, the value proposition of virtualization is controlling and managing the proliferation of server and storage. I mean, that's really what you want to do. I mean, like we talked about, increase the average utilization of resources that you already have deployed, right? Don't keep buying more and more and really looking and having 15 to 20% average utilization. For a CFO, who's really signing the check for a company, if you really go and tell the CFO that, you spent $5 million last year to really buy all this and your average utilization is really 20%, I mean, the CFO is really going to flip over, right? I mean, so you really want to do something to get a CIO who's really talking to the CFO is trying to really get the maximum out of what they already have, right? Improving the resource utilization. At the same time, increasing the availability of IT environment, right? I mean, if you really, the technologies now are really getting mature to the extent that you are able to spin up a new virtual machine when you need it. And if even we used to really have high availability systems where hardware used to be duplicated with majority of the times being idle all the time. Now you can really use virtualization technology to minimize the idle time of hardware. I mean, I had a customer who really had, in the P series, IBM middle distributed system, the P series, we have the HACMP systems where hardware is completely duplicated. And they had for their large SAP farm, I mean, they had many instances of SAP running. So for each one of them, for their database machines, actually, they had duplicated hardware. And when 4 years back, when they decided to really get into virtualization, they decided to combine those cold hardware systems into one large machine with multiple logical partitions, all waiting for something to happen to the primary side so that they can really take over when that really happens. So they were able to really consolidate multiple machines into one physical platform with multiple logical platforms, and from that they really got a lot of savings from their own data center. So those are some of the things that virtualization is really trying, is making happen in there. So it increases availability, reduces costs, time spent in managing infrastructure. See, management of the infrastructure, I mean, if you, it's really a two-way street, because you talk to some people, they'll say, yeah, you got less machines to really manage, so your complexity of management really is going to come down. Yes, it is, but at the same time, when you have multiple LPARs, virtual machines, actually, in one way, the complexity also really goes up. So it's really, there is a compromise there. I mean, yeah, you reduce the total number of machines, but you're increasing the total number of logical machines that are out there. Typically, again, I mean, in a data center, when you really are talking about system administrators, how many system administrators does it really take you to manage X number of machines? There is not, the people who do sizing, they always really say, I got, 20 machines, I need maybe 2 operating system level administrators, and then I have, half a dozen databases running on those, so I need so many DBAs. So there is really a correlation of number of instances versus number of administrators that really are required. So when you virtualize things, yeah, the number of operating system instances won't really go down, but the number of physical machines really is going to go down. But the logical machines really is going to be the same. I mean, if you don't do any other application level changes, right? So you could really say that because you have less number of physical machines, you need less number of system administrators at that level. So the cost of administration really also is impacted by virtualizing your infrastructure. Right? So. Okay. So we talked about what is the market, what are analysts saying about this technology, right?